spectrum of ground motion. Response spectrum analysis, or like response spectrum, what is basically that? A building can be mathematically conceived to be a collection of equivalent simple structures, each having only one natural period of oscillation corresponding to one of the modes of oscillation of the building. So these are called equivalent single degree of freedom structures corresponding to each mode of oscillation of the original building. So here you can see that when we apply earthquake force on this building, this is the first translation mode, this is second translation mode, and this is the third translation mode. For this is the equivalent single degree of freedom structure. For second mode, this is the equivalent single degree of freedom structure, and for this is the third mode equivalent single degree of freedom structure, and then it goes on. So single degree freedom structure has approximately mass m, stiffness k, and associated structural damping chi. So thus all the single degree of freedom structures with same proportion of mass and stiffness will have the same natural period. Such a structure with same natural period for same oscillation and same structural damping exhibits same time history of response when subjected to same earthquake ground shaking. So what we can see here is that for mass m and stiffness k and damping this, for mass 5m, for stiffness 5k and damping this, 10m, 10k this, 15m, 15k and this, the forces are same. Because what basically happens is that if we are considering 5m and 5k, both 5 got cancelled, and basically the time period got same. So this is also a very important thing that structural designer needs to understand. We are analyzing various single degree of freedom structures. So acceleration response spectrum of a ground motion. So usual seismic design of structures is performed using the maximum force induced in the structure due to earthquake shaking. And forces can be defined in two ways, that is mass into acceleration and stiffness k into displacement x. So F is equal to kx also and F equal to ma also. And absolute maximum of such response is useful in the design, and a graph of the maximum response is generated for a spectrum of single degree of structure with different natural period and same damping and the same earthquake motion. So this is called the response spectrum of the particular earthquake ground motion. This can be like clear from this graph. This graph is a response spectrum graph. On the left you will find the spectral acceleration, that is g. On the right you will find the natural period. So here you can see that for time period of 1, spectral acceleration is this much. For time period of 0.5, spectral acceleration is this much. And for time period of 3, spectral acceleration is only this much. So all the structures which are having, for example, 2 time period, the spectral acceleration approximately comes at around 0.16 or 0.17. And for spectral acceleration approximately, so in real building it is easier to compute the mass of the building that is effective during earthquake shaking. It is also called seismic mass. Thus once the natural period associated with each mode of oscillation is estimated, the corresponding seismic lateral force is obtained. Multiply the acceleration response spectrum value with the mass associated to each mode of oscillation. So in the design of buildings, seismic design codes provide a design response spectrum, and the corresponding force obtained is called the design seismic lateral force of the building or base shear of the building. So elastic earthquake behavior of building is primarily controlled by 4 virtues, that is configuration, stiffness, strength and ductility. What is basically configuration? Configuration is critical to good seismic performance of the building. So the important aspects affecting seismic configuration of buildings are overall geometry, structural system and load paths. We should always avoid complex plan shapes. The complex, that is, the influence of plan geometry on the building on its seismic performance is best understood from the basic geometry. That is, this is the convex geometry and this is the concave geometry. So building with convex geometry have direct load paths, and are much better as compared to buildings with the concave geometry. Here you can see that this is a concave and this is a convex. So here you can see that the earthquake forces travel directly from this point to this point. But in the case of this behavior, or we can see here that the earthquake forces does not travel straight. These are the simple shapes that are always desirable, whereas these are the complex shapes that are not desirable at all. These are the shapes that are the reason why engineers provide expansion gaps in the building. So type of oscillation in the first 6 modes in the building with different plan shapes. This was the thing that like I was telling you earlier. When we are designing this type of building, first mode is most of the time Y translational, second mode is X translation, third mode is torsion. While in case of this T-shaped building, first is Y translation with torsion, second is X translation with torsion, and third mode is pure torsion. Fourth is opening closing, fifth is dogtail wagging, and sixth is mixed. Although the important modes are first, second and third only. So here you can see that in the case of V and in the case of this Y, the first mode is torsion. So we should always avoid these type of buildings. After that, this is X torsion with torsion, Y torsion. This is a very complex shape that should always be avoided. Plus, we should always note that this diagonal translational, torsion, opening, closing and dogtail wagging, this should not be the initial modes of oscillation. So explaining that in further, we can see here this is the L-shaped building. So number one mode is the building got displaced along y-axis, second building got displaced along the x-axis, third is pure torsion, fourth is opening closing, that is the building go like this, and when the building goes like this, that is this distance increases and decreases. In this way building open and close. Fifth is the mixed shape, and sixth is also the mixed shape. Second is the Y translational with torsion, X translational with torsion, third is pure torsion, fourth is opening closing, fifth is dogtail wagging, that is the building, this only part goes from this point to this point like the dog wag its tail, and after that is a mixed mode. Third is U-shaped building, the third mode is torsion, and this fourth mode is opening closing, that is also very dangerous. Fifth mode is mixed, and sixth mode is X translational. After it is a V shape, that is first mode is only torsion and that should always be avoided. After that it is opening closing at fourth mode shape, that is also very complex mode shape. And after that again, and the fifth mode it is dogtail wagging, and the fourth mode is opening closing, and the first and second mode is X torsion, Y torsion, Y torsion, Y torsion. That should always be avoided. See, simply we should not go with complex mode shapes in the first three modes. And after it is a Y shape, again this fourth is dogtail wagging, that is a building behave like building wag its tail from this point to this point. So what is this dogtail wagging mode that I am repeating again and again? Building with complex shape, particularly with projections or re-entrant corners, exhibit special modes of oscillation in addition to translational or torsional modes. So this includes an opening closing mode and unique local high frequency oscillator mode like that of the wagging of a dog's tail. So dogtail wagging mode is why it is interesting, because in this mode only a slender or long projection oscillates and remaining part of the building almost remains still. So we can understand how dangerous this dogtail wagging mode is. Just imagine only the projection oscillates, the whole building is still. So effect of this special mode of oscillation is to induce high stress concentration at re-entrant corners that can cause significant structural damage. So only a projection oscillates significantly while the rest of the building remains almost still. So here you can see that this is the re-entrant corner. So this is the opening closing mode of oscillation, and this is the dogtail wagging mode of oscillation. You can see how these forces are being concentrated here in the opening closing mode as well as in the dogtail wagging mode. So we should always avoid long projections, especially in the case of high seismic zones. We should not provide long projections. So projection, if required, must be short. And by projection we are not saying that like the cantilevers or something like that. We are right now talking about the geometry of the whole building or geometry of the whole structure. So we should always avoid long projected building in one direction, or in like this Y-shaped building or cross-shaped building, the contribution of opening closing mode of oscillation in the overall seismic response with 16-meter projection arm is least, and will ensure better seismic behavior of the building than building with 32-meter and 48-meter projecting arms. So here, this was the point that I was telling you in the earlier slide, that as soon as this cantilever decreases, the time period also decreases, and when it increases, the time period also increases. So in this, when we go into detail of all these three U-shaped buildings, the time period is basically, you can see here that in X it is 0.92, while in this case it is 0.94. In opening closing, you can see that it is approximately 0.77, while in this case, when the cantilevers are least, it is only 0.42 seconds. Similarly, in first 10 modes of the building with T-plan shapes, here you can see that the third mode is only torsional here, and in this case the second mode gets torsional. So that is also very undesirable behavior. Similarly, we have conducted studies on this and this. So here you can see that the torsional mode is at 0.88, when we decrease the cantilever, the torsional mode comes at 0.85. And in this case also, the torsional is at 0.81, and while in this case it is 0.78. Here you can see that drastic difference between this and this. Here it is 0.43 and it is 0.27. Similarly, the drastic difference between fourth mode 0.47, and in this only 0.28. Similarly, for this and this, here you can see that in the fourth mode that drastic change occurred, 0.47 to 0.26, and here also 0.49 to 0.26. So torsional mode of oscillation in building with complex shape contributes significantly to the overall building response, especially when it has a large natural period. So doctrinal wagging mode also causes significant stress concentration at reentrant corners, here like this. So torsional mode of oscillations are predominant in building with L, X and Y plan shape, which should be avoided with suitable choice of structural configuration. So diagonal translation mode of oscillations are predominant in building with L and X plan shapes, which should be avoided with suitable changes in structural configuration. So opening, closing and dogtail wagging modes of oscillation causes significant stress concentration at reentrant corners and can cause structural damage. Basically, aspect ratio is the ratio of the longest dimension to the shortest dimensions. So during earthquake shaking, inertia forces mobilize in the building, usually at the floor levels where the mass is large, and that inertia force is distributed to different load resisting elements. So it is preferable to distribute that lateral inertia force to larger number or various number of load resisting elements in proportion to the lateral load resisting capacities. So this is achieved when the floor slabs do not deform too much in their own plane. So here comes the rigid diaphragm actions. So what basically happens is that floor slab, for example RCC slab, imagine an RCC slab over a beams. So that helps in distributing the inertia force to a different lateral load resisting elements in proportion to the stiffness. However, the inertia force is distributed based on tributary area when floor slabs deform in their own plane. So here you can see that when the slab was very small, the slab does not deflect like this. The forces only got transferred here. But when the slab was very large, here you can see that the slab deformed here. So absolute lateral displacement of diaphragm along building length and building length. So when the aspect ratio is very high, the displacement is also very high. Here you can see that the aspect ratio of the building is very high. That is the longest dimension to the shortest dimension. So here in the plan you can see here that there is a very large deformation along the center point. Third point we can see here that we should always avoid large slenderness ratio. What happens is that during earthquake shaking building, lateral sway and excessive lateral displacement is not desirable. So large lateral displacement causes significant non-structural damage and even second order P delta effect that may lead to collapse of the building. So design code, what they recommend is that inter-story drift under design earthquake forces should be restricted to 0.4% of story heights. On the left you will see that along the vertical axis it is this drift percentage, and on the horizontal axis, it is slenderness ratio. So here in this example you can see here that for the 5-story the deformation on the top is very less, and for the 25-story even the building slenderness ratio is very high, the deformation is also very high. Similarly is the effect of the distribution of forces. So here you can see here that the demand on the bottom stories is very less, but when we increase the height the demand abruptly increased, and here in the case of 25 stories the demand is overlapping with each other.